All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Our Things podcast. I'm Jay Teagues. On this Monday morning, I have with me Angie Bertrand. How you doing, Angie?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Angie is doing hard things.
Yes.
She is next level. I've got to up my game. She told me this morning, look at my face tattoo. I'm like, face tattoo? Like, what are you talking about? She just had her eyes. What did you say? Your eyelids?
I got eyeliner tattooed on.
How
Mm-hmm.
did that feel?
Woo! Man, let me tell you. Uh, so she did put numbing gel on it first. And I can't imagine how much more painful it would have been without the numbing gel. And she reapplied the numbing gel several times, but I was focused. I was trying to focus on box breathing. That was my literally. And but then there was some points it was so painful. I'm like, oh my god, what? And I was only counting to 4, and I'm like, I don't even know what number I'm on. Oh my
Wow.
god. But
Golly, I'm so glad I'm a dude.
it just it was over really quickly, and it's gonna last a long time. And it just cuts one thing out of my routine that it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is.
The pains women go through to look and women, I appreciate everyone like going through the pains that they do to look beautiful. But I am just because I see like Lacey get up in the morning and just her routine. I'm like, I'm just blessed that I don't have to go through that. I just shave my head, brush my teeth, I'm out the door. And that when you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, of all the places to get I don't even have a tattoo, but it just freaks me out.
Yeah. Yeah, it was not easy. It was not
Well,
easy. It was a hard thing.
congratulations and well done. That's
Thanks.
you win.
Thanks.
You win every challenge. Like you're the hero.
Yeah. I kept thinking, okay, what's worse? Running 30 miles or this? This definitely. This
Oh,
definitely.
absolutely. Good grief. Yeah, that sounds miserable. But hey, well done. Congratulations. You look wonderful. You
Thanks.
look beautiful.
Thank you. It'll look much better once the swelling is down.
Well, today's Labor Day, and many
Yeah.
people are off enjoying this great weekend. I know
Mhm.
we went camping and floating this weekend. It was great, and but we're here Monday morning, and we want to talk about the office. This is the title: "The Office Minefield: Surviving and Thriving Amidst and Among Toxic Colleagues." You ever worked with someone that just drained the life out of you? You go to work and like feel like you're walking on eggshells.
Mhm.
Um, it's just I don't know. It's really difficult. We want to talk about, how do you how can something like this impact your life, some actionable strategies to handle them, how to maybe set some boundaries, maybe embracing some mindfulness to guide you through this, because when you're dealing with someone that's toxic or a toxic environment at work, it can really drain the life out of you.
Mhm.
And so we want you to walk away with the tools you need to thrive in a less than ideal work environment, because this is a challenge for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So before we get into that, just real quick, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you're notified of future episodes. We're on Spotify, Apple, Pocket Cast, YouTube. If you want to see our smiling faces, we're on YouTube. Leave us a review on Apple iTunes. They matter. They go a long way to helping us reach and expand the audience, the rankings, and share it with a couple of your friends, because I'm sure something that we talk about here will resonate with someone that you know. This episode is sponsored by The Forge. The Forge is a high-performance group over at the Lions Guide, and it's an opportunity to network. We provide frameworks, challenges, and accountability. If you want to take the next step on the ladder of personal growth and development, then join The Forge. I'm the lead facilitator over there, but like I tell everyone, I just facilitate the conversation. I'm a student just like everyone else going through it. And what I've learned, these high performance mindset communities are really, really great to give you that safe space, if you will. And I hate using that term, but it really, I mean, I don't know, it just sounds kind of cheesy to say that, but it's really good to be able to have a place to vent where you have your challenges and you can get really good feedback on some of the challenges that you face, and a place that you can grow. So go check us out. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can go to applyatlionsguide.com, learn more about what we do over there. We have a book club. We talk about a variety of different high performance topics. And like I said, I think the networking and the accountability with one another is probably the most valuable aspect of that.
Mhm.
And
Agreed.
then also we're sponsored by Do Hard Things Nation, and go over there and grab yourself some Do Hard Things apparel. We got events coming up. Actually this coming weekend is the 9.11 mile run and ruck, and we have a 5K option. We also have a virtual option, and we basically it kicks off Patriot Day weekend up at Cooper's Landing. and it's an opportunity to get out there and get after it. We've got Sid Bush coming in. We got Noah Austin who's providing some live music, and it's a fantastic venue. It's beautiful, and we chose that because it's patriotic. Has 9/11 has a lot of meaning to a lot of people. It was a life altering event for so many, and we want to just kind of take a time to honor those that sacrificed, and just remind everyone to live a life worthy of the sacrifice, and have a good time, but also take a moment to memorialize those that paid the ultimate, and say thank you to our first responders as well. So we're going to have some first responders there. So and and if you can't make it in person, you want to support, go to doyourthingsnation.com, and you can do it virtually. So we have that option as well. So I think that's it for the business end of things. So yeah, have you ever had to work with a toxic person? Felt drained, manipulated, feeling like you're walking on eggshells? You want to throat punch them? You wanted to tattoo their eyelids?
Yes.
Yes,
yes, and yes.
Yeah, I have. So I know I have,
Yeah.
and they're really challenging environments to work in. So I don't know. What are your initial thoughts on that topic?
Well,
Angie?
so my initial thoughts, and this is what I like to try to remind people because it took me a while to, and this sounds like it should be common sense, right? But you can't change those people. You can be a good influence on them, but you can't change them. So don't spend all your time trying to change those people,
Yeah,
and really learn to navigate, um, for your own mental health, navigate the situation, and um, for yourself. Just
yeah,
That's just something that I think people lose sight of. You and I were talking earlier, and I read this meme that read something like, "Stop getting mad at people for not being who you want them to be.
yeah.
Stop getting mad at people for who you want." And that's for your own good. It has nothing really to do about them because they're going to be their toxic selves, really, no matter what, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think of a toxic person, I think of someone that tries to manipulate situations.
Mhm.
Maybe they just constantly complain about things.
Yeah.
Maybe they engage in activities like they're trying to climb the ladder at work, and they might engage in some backstabbing activities.
Yeah.
These are all like just absolutely toxic to the work environment. And I think about Simon Sinek has a great little piece about, developing trust. He talks a lot about the circle of trust, and how, the best organizations have like incredible amounts of trust. And the pitfall that organizations have, and leaders are, they just hold on to these people. They hold on to these toxic people because I don't know, they don't want to let them go because they might hurt the person's feelings. They might, I don't know, there's cost associated with recruiting and replacing the individual. Maybe they're losing
Mhm.
institutional knowledge.
Yeah.
But you've got to be quick to, I think it's the quote is, be quick to fire, slow to hire, because you want to hire your A game performers,
Mhm.
people that you can trust,
Mhm.
and you need to be quick about getting rid of people that aren't performing, that are toxic, because they are so detrimental. You tend to bleed talents. It just causes people to not have trust. They're working in a vacuum, and it's just unpleasant, and it affects people's personal well-being, because they take that stuff home with them.
Yeah.
And I've been in a few toxic environments, and it was absolutely horrible. The stress that comes along with that, because
Yeah.
you spend so much time at work, and unfortunately, we tend to bring that stuff home and try
Yeah.
to decompress from it. And toxic environments can be detrimental to our own personal health.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times, even when we're in leadership roles, we are not in control of the hiring and firing of these individuals a lot of times, and I remember I used to work in an incredibly toxic place for some time. And I got to where I would come in and play the song of the day to try to set the tone for the rest of the day.
Mhm.
And of course, it had to be, work friendly and all those things. But it seemed like whenever I played the song of the day, it helped just a little bit, especially those that were being affected by the toxicity, just to help. Hey, let's set our mood now. Let's set our intentions. Let's set our goals for the day. Let's go ahead and knock this out. Let's listen to our song. And then it kind of helped get the day started off on a little bit more positive note, if you
Yeah,
will.
yeah, yeah. I had worked in a. This is back when I was a recruiter, and I had I don't know, I had a toxic work environment where some of my fellow colleagues did not like the supervisor, and it turned into this gotcha game where like almost every conversation was recorded, notes were taken. I mean, it got so bad that we had to have people from outside the office come down and like do some investigations and interviews from or I guess our version
Mhm.
of HR come down
Yeah.
and like, investigate the environment to see, what was going on. And I just remember I just dreaded going to work because I was like,
Yeah.
well, I'll be frank, it ultimately, this is bad. It ultimately led to almost workplace violent scenario where there was a shotgun involved. That's how bad it had gotten.
Oh.
That's how bad it had gotten. It was a traumatic event in my life,
Mhm.
because and I've been to combat, and you can when you're with your brothers and sisters who are wearing a uniform, it's us versus them, you're right. But when it's like internal, one of your own people, um, I don't know. That was a whole new level of like, you want to talk about like violating trust, like that.
Mhm.
That really like messed with my mind,
Mm.
because I could not believe that happened. That's how bad the situation had gotten.
Mhm.
And so you want to talk about extreme toxicity, and I don't want to go into a lot of details about
Right.
it, but it was that bad. That's how bad it had gotten. And that was the toughest assignment I had ever been on because of that situation, how it
Mhm.
escalated that quickly.
Mhm.
And so I don't know that the whole toxicity can be a poison. It can lead people off the deep end for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Um, something that helped and still continues to help me when I'm dealing with toxic people that I don't have control over whether or not they're part of the organization or not, is to and this is something that if you've read the 4 agreements, don't take things personal, and then if you can try to understand where this person is operating from, get a sense of why they are the way they are, right? It could be you never know what's going on in someone's home. You don't know how they were raised. But if you can get kind of a sense of, okay, this is why this person is communicating this way. This is why this person is behaving this way. You can it's I think it's a lot easier to remember then to not take things personal, because if someone doesn't like themselves, they don't treat themselves they don't speak to themselves kindly, you can't ever expect them. Why would you even think that they would treat anyone else kindly?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things that I think you kinda lose sight of, and it's not giving people an excuse, it's being able to see where they're operating from and where to keep them and how to manage them and manage your expectations with them.
Yeah. It kind of goes back to, if they're that way at work, they're probably that way all the time.
Mhm.
And you're trying to change an individual who doesn't necessarily want to change,
Mm-mm.
and that can leave you, spinning your wheels and
Yeah.
really frustrated, right?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure, and you just gotta know that it's not about you. It's not about you
Yeah,
at
it's
in
not.
any point in time.
Yeah, it's not. Nothing's personal.
Mm-mm.
It's not.
No.
Yeah. Those 4 agreements, they're very simple, but if you can live your life by those things, it'll absolutely change your mind or
Yeah.
change your life. And I remind myself of them because I don't always show up, living those statements, but I always like defer back to those. Am I living up to those?
Mhm.
And yeah, those are powerful. I know some of the, the first thing that my approach is, you want to try to set some type of boundaries with people. And when it comes to like a workplace situation where you're like kind of like forced to be with the person, this is very difficult to do.
Yeah.
But keeping conversations very short and professional. Maybe you put some boundaries up, like, a lot of times you'll be friends with people on social media. Well, maybe we need to delineate that. Maybe we need to remove that person. Maybe, just because you're working with them doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them via social media. This is a professional setting.
Mhm.
And because your social media can be used against you, that it'll be creeping on you, and it just kind of blurs some lines, right? So if you
Right.
keep it like It's just another less of a touch point, out of sight, out of mind. Limit the conversations, make it, work related only, and don't give them any personal details,
Yeah.
because ultimately a toxic person can use these things against you. And you don't have to divulge your personal life with them. Don't give them the satisfaction of that.
No.
Right. And then this is another hard one, but kill them with kindness. Discuss important things. Be polite. Be happy. When you're happy, with toxic people, when a toxic person is around a happy person and you're happy, it drives them crazy. So if you want to just be happy.
And it shuts them down. It is so crazy how that works.
It does. It does. Because misery loves company. And to me, toxic people that I've worked with tend to be kind of miserable, and they're just trying to spread that misery to other people. And it is contagious.
Yeah.
A communication technique, that definitely kind of reduces some tension is using I statements like, I don't know, I feel this. I don't like it when this happens versus you do this all the time, right? You're the type of person that does this all the time. I feel this is how I feel in the moment. It kind of neutralizes and it's less poignant. So that's a strategy that can be used.
Yeah.
Escape the drama. Toxic people tend to like to just engage in a lot of drama and gossip, and don't participate in those types of things. Those
Yep.
activities are not good. And then if something is like really like maybe, and I mentioned this earlier, every conversation was recorded and records are being kept. But if someone is acting out, you might want to take some notes, just point out certain situations that are happening so you can identify them, maybe put them in a memorandum, right? A memorandum for record, and keep a record of that. And then if HR or your supervisor has to get involved, which is, if this is happening, like this, if we're getting to the point where we're probably documenting things and the supervisor doesn't know, you probably need to have a conversation with the supervisor.
Yeah.
And HR. I don't know, any other techniques that you use, Angie, that you think of?
Yeah, I communication via email. Yes, we should have communication face to face, right? Yes. But when you have that communication via email, especially if it's a toxic workplace situation to where maybe someone's asking you to bend the rules, or maybe they're your supervisor and they're toxic and they're telling you, "No, this is the way I want it done." And you're like, "Well, but policy, our standard operating procedure, our policy and procedure says it has to be done this way." And they're like, "No, I don't care. I want it done this way." Just communicate that all through email, all through email. And
Yeah.
I think that helps, because a lot of times people will tell you to do something, but they won't back it up with written instruction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think about, like, I'd have that conversation, whether it be at the water cooler or in a meeting, like, just to follow, as per our meeting,
Yeah.
just to follow up, just to be clear,
Mhm.
I'm going to do this, you're going to do that, and this is why. And it
Mhm.
just a quick recap of that conversation, just to document it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that way, if something does go down, well, you've got this whole conversation kind of time stamped, and they can kind of piece back like what had happened, right? And I just think that's good practice in general when you're
Yeah.
working in any organization.
For sure.
Just to cover your ass, right?
Yeah. Cover your assets. Keep
Cover
them
your
covered.
assets. Yes.
I used to set a timer. I used to have my timer set, and I would take my dedicated breaks because, depending on where you work, what your job situation is, for me, I got, what is it, for federal employees, 2 15-minute breaks and a lunch break, and
Mhm.
anyway, at certain times. But I would set my alarm, and I would take a walk, and if it meant walking the hallways, walking up and down the steps, if the weather was bad outside, if the weather was great outside, you'd find me outside. But I always took those work breaks to clear my mind.
Yeah.
Every single time. Went out and walked. You don't have to go run. You don't have to do a whole, but get out there and clear your mind. Step away from, remove yourself from the situation and just go for a walk. Clear your brain. And that does wonders for your mental health to refresh you when you have to go back in.
Yeah, absolutely. So in addition to all like the workplace type stuff,
Mhm.
this goes back to just being self-aware and self-care, right? So
Mhm.
taking the time throughout the day to re-energize, to clear your mind, to get away from the toxicity,
Mhm.
because you can take your breaks and check email and just kind of when you check in on these other things that can drain energy, you need to do things that are energizing you and clearing your mind and de-stressing you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a great point. Uh, doing some breathing techniques, getting out there and getting some fresh air, taking a few minutes to stretch, hydrate,
Mhm.
doing all those things that are going to energize you definitely help.
Yeah.
These are simple things that are easy to do, but they're easy not to do.
Yeah.
But if you don't do them, um, all this stuff, the stress kind of bottles up. You're just kind of purging some of the stress out when you do these little things that seem like seamless, but they do make a difference.
Yeah.
And so from a leadership perspective, I just kind of want to harken back. Like if you're a leader and you have a toxic environment, and that, if you ignore or tolerate toxicity, there's going to be some long-term consequences within the organization. You're going to have higher turnover. You're going to lose good people because
Mhm.
eventually people are not going to, eventually people, or it could get worse. It could get to the situation that I had. Like you hear on the news of these crazy things happening from time to time. It's because it wasn't like overnight, it's usually when you peel back the onion, you can see the trail of breadcrumbs. Like
Yep.
this has been happening over time, and leadership didn't have the courage to address it for whatever reason. And to me, that's toxic leadership. By allowing it to happen, by not
Yeah.
addressing it, is
Yeah.
not good. This can harm your company's reputation. You're going to have higher turnover. And I think leaders need to act decisively when faced with toxic employees. They have to address it. If someone is out of the blue acting toxic, they might be going through like an acute difficulty in their life, and
Mm.
that needs to be addressed. But if this is like ongoing and left unchecked because you don't have the courage to deal with it, it's costing your organization so much more than you realize.
Yeah.
And your organization will not rise up to the level of greatness that it could when you have toxicity in it.
Mhm.
You're going to have high trust environments where employees feel safe, they feel understood, they can voice their opinions without ridicule or reprisal. That sense of security fosters innovation and a level of collaboration that will make that organization thrive.
Yeah.
But if that circle of trust is like violated, then the exact opposite happens. It stifles ingenuity. People are worried about backstabbing, and they're worried about, walking on eggshells, and people bring that stuff home.
Mhm.
It affects their like personal health.
Yeah.
And so I think it's incumbent upon leaders to make sure that trust is first and foremost, part of the organizational culture.
Mhm.
So if you're a leader listening to this is something that you need to address.
Mhm.
And if there's a level of toxicity that's happening, you need to let your leadership know so they can address it accordingly. So,
Yep.
yeah, it's a tough
Do hard
subject.
things.
It's
Do
yeah,
hard
that's
things.
do the hard thing, right? Do the hard things.
Yeah.
Who get your eyes tattooed? Do hard things. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's having tough conversations is a hard thing to do, but it's something that's necessary. It's
Yeah.
absolutely necessary.
It is.
And the reason that we avoid it is because we don't want to hurt people's feelings. A toxic person that's not happy in the organization, it's better to release them because maybe they'll find some happiness doing something else. You're actually probably releasing them to be themselves. But they're going to lose their paycheck and their salary. Well, you know what? They're going to figure it out, right? And
Yeah.
they're probably going to end up in maybe some place that's going to make them happy.
Yeah.
Because if you're acting toxic, well, you're obviously not happy.
Yeah.
So let miserable
Absolutely.
people go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And don't
what
take it
else?
personal. Don't take it personal. Just
Yeah.
don't take it personal.
Yeah. Don't
And
take
don't
it.
get mad at them for not being the people you want them to be.
Yeah. They're not changing. I'm so pissed at them for not changing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully these things, we'd love to hear from you. If you're dealing with a toxic individual, have had a situation, if there's something that we had missed, like a technique or something like that, we'd love to hear about it so we can pass it along. But
Yeah.
yeah, these are challenges that people face all the time. And
That's right.
you're not alone in that. So, all right. Any final thoughts on toxic, avoiding the minefields of a toxic work environment?
No, I think you covered all the important points.
All right. Well, let me transition now to our weekly wake up winner. Here we go. See my screen? All right. So I hope I don't butcher this name. I'm going to butcher this name because I butcher people's names all the time. But this is Muaya Adebiyi. Muaya is the host of the Day In and Day Out podcast. And of all the podcasts I've been on to be interviewed, he was the most energetic, just the nicest guy. He hails from London, England. So he's a very deep, like British accent, and he is just full of life. And he's constantly out there just encouraging people to live a better life. He's a marathon runner. He's currently on his Facebook page doing like a push-up, sit-up challenge, and just a happy-go-lucky dude. And he just inspires other people to be the very best. And he calls everyone his life warriors. And I remember when I came, I mean, it was the most fun podcast I had ever been on because he's just a guy who's just completely full of life. So from across the, I think this is our first international across the pond weekly spotlight winner. But Muaya, we want to send you a Do Hard Things shirt for getting out there, getting after it, encouraging other people, being a lighthouse, being a shining example of what, being a role model and doing hard things is all about. So we want to honor you. It's going to have, our logo has the American flag on it. So we don't have a UK version of this. You're going to have to, so, from the defectors, from the, from the Revolutionary War champs, we're going to send you a shirt. So we appreciate you though. But yeah, keep getting out there, keep getting after it. And I hope I get a chance to meet Muaya in person at a marathon or something eventually, because he's just a good dude. So we appreciate you.
Right on.
So, but that's it. How are you spending your Labor Day, Angie?
I am getting ready for my mom to come visit, actually. So I'm going to be doing some cleaning and organizing and making sure she's got a good, comfortable space to come hang out in. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What about you?
I'm headed back. I'm up in Columbia with Lacey, but I got to head back to Waynesville and pick up the kiddos. Now well, it depends. Their mother had contracted COVID. COVID. Did you hear COVID's coming back around again?
I mean, did
it's
it
like
ever...
variants? Yeah, I guess there's like new mutations now. Yeah, it's coming back around again because So I guess it depends on whether or not the kids have symptoms today or not. So we're dealing with that again. We're back to school, so all the sickness and everything comes back. It's like a petri dish with these kids going back to school. So. But so I guess we'll see how the day pans out. I know Lacey's getting ready to go out to the Heart of America marathon and go cheer on some runners. It's it's up in Columbia. It is one of the one of the longest running marathons, maybe the oldest on this side of the Mississippi. It's a really difficult course. So it's like, it's got a, in the world of marathons, it has some historical, precedence for being like one of the oldest, I think. And nonstop. How many years has it been? Like, I'd have to look. I'm probably, it's been ongoing for a very long time. So it holds some records for, I think, between difficulty and like length of how many consecutive years run, something like that. So
cool.
It's going to be a hot one today. So for all those runners out there, because we got some listeners, good luck.
Here I am. I pulled out my sweatshirt for the last day of summer. I was like, oh, fall's going to be here. No, it's still going to be 90 degrees outside, and I'm not going outside in a sweatshirt later. I'm not one of those teenagers that goes out in sweatshirts and 100-degree weather.
Yeah, my kids wear hoodies all the time, like year round. Like you're going to go to like,
I don't know
it's
how
like
they do
105 degrees and you're wearing a hoodie.
Yeah, I have no clue how they do it. That's not me. But I'm wearing it this morning because I'm in the house and I got the AC on. So
yeah. Well, for everyone out there, hey, have a safe and happy Labor Day weekend. If you're listening to this, we'd love to hear back on what you think about the topic of today. Yeah. Share it with a couple of your friends. You're ready to level up. Join us in the Forge. Go to lionsguide.com. Grab you a shirt or dohardthingsnation.com. And that's it. We appreciate you listening.
Oh, Jay.
Yeah.
You got to go out and make somebody smile today.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming to make someone smile.
Lacey's going to make a lot of people smile today, I'm sure. Let's be like Lacey today. She's going to be out there cheering on runners. She's going to make them smile. You get out there, do something, make somebody smile. Even if it's that toxic workplace person. Yeah. Just make it your goal to try. There you go. This does sound a little passive aggressive, but I mean, if you have that toxic person, see if you can make them smile.
Kill them with kindness. Kill them with kindness.
Just saying.
Don't actually kill them.
Yeah,
kill them with kind. Be kind. It's a term. I think I need to call my lawyer. That is a phrase. Kill them with kindness. I am not calling for violence. Facebook's going to shut me down. I mentioned something about burning my own house down because I had a squirrel in the ceiling, and I got like Facebook shut down.
Really?
Like, did you? Yeah, it's
Uh,
crazy. But
ugh,
anyway, yes, kill them with
ugh.
kindness is a
Yes.
term, and it means to be nice to people.
Mhm. Yeah.
Be nice to people with just intentionality, like,
Do it on
yeah.
purpose.
So do it on purpose. Yeah, with a vengeance. All right, everyone, keep doing hard things. Make someone smile. We'll see you guys next
We'll see ya.
episode.